Hey, hey, hey. Nickie Brown here. No matter where you are and what part of the world you are in, I hope that you are having a great day. Put a little light on the situation. So I decided to have dinner with you and show you what I got. So it's a flatbread from Subway, $4.52 with tax. You see that? So it has peppers, spinach, tomatoes, cucumbers, salt, pepper, oregano. Flatbread is probably not vegan, and this is definitely not an alkaline meal. So for those who are into alkaline, this may not be something that you want. But for those who don't mind, I just wanted to show you what I have. So green peppers, sweet peppers, onions, black olives, and the chipotle. It's not called chipotle mayo. It's like something chipotle, not chipotle ranch either. It's chipotle something type of sauce. And that's probably not vegan either. But I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm just going to enjoy my sandwich. So I hope that, for those who are interested, that this is helpful to you. They do kind of load it up with veggies. Yeah. And the sauce is pretty good. I guess this is what they call a mukbang too. Since I am eating it on camera. So, once upon a time, pardon me for talking with my mouth full, but when Megan of the Band was on and Puffy came up with that slogan, I did buy one of the t-shirts. Although, this is probably my second or third time wearing this t-shirt. It's pretty much been in a tote in my closet. And since I was only running to the store, I just decided to throw the t-shirt on. I was looking for a t-shirt, a clean t-shirt. And this was kind of the first one I grabbed. Although I'm not into this type of stuff. I mean, but don't judge me, okay? You're probably going to do that anyway, but I don't care. But I did put the scarf on, so you can't really. But we don't want any of that. It's a really gorgeous day outside. The sun is shining bright. The sun will come out tomorrow. So yesterday was Sunday, and I did shampoo and condition my hair using my eggs and mayonnaise mayo conditioner and some, of course, my oils. Well, what I normally do is a hot oil treatment first. So I Did my hot oil treatment first, and then I sat under my dryer, my hair dryer, for about 15 minutes, probably 18 minutes really, because I put it on 20 minutes. I usually do that just so that it can get a little warm. And then I usually wait until it's warm and then I sit under it. So it's about 15 minutes or so, give or take. And then I rinsed out the oil. Well, shampooed out the oil because it was pretty oily. And oil, my hair is so fine that oil usually weighs it down. And it probably, I know it does that with most people's hair, but if you have, um, you know, um, a higher density than I do, then your hair could probably hold on to a little bit more oil. But as soon as I put oil, it's like, so I think I ended up shampooing my hair 3 times just to make sure that all the oil was out. Excuse me, because after the second wash, I still didn't feel like my hair was clean. I think I told y'all about these press-on nails. I am so surprised that these press-on nails have lasted this long. I put them on, I don't know, one day last week. And they're still on. I think one of them chipped in the corner. You can see that. It's like such a little chip though. I don't even know how I chipped them. But I have nail glue, so I put the nail glue on my natural nail and on the press-on nail. And they're still on here. They're kind of to the point where they're growing out a little bit. You see that? My nails grow pretty fast. Even this one too. Because they weren't like that when I first put them on. So it's like to the point where they're starting to grow out. You know, like if you go to the nail salon and get acrylic or gel or silk wraps, whatever you get, put on after like a week, you know, they start to grow out. So this is like growth. Like what in the world? I was kind of surprised. Mm. I love a good sandwich, but this might not be something you want to have on a date. Because, you know, sandwiches can get a little messy. Well, I guess you can have whatever you want if you don't mind. So, I'm such the salt girl. I think I'm going to put... and I like it spicy. So, I think that I have some Cajun seasoning and I have some cayenne pepper I'm going to add. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to squeeze a little key lime juice on there too. I did have oil and vinegar added, if I didn't say that. I've always was the person who, like, we used to eat blimpies growing up, and there's a blimpie around the corner from me. So I like to go there too. Not all the time. You know, this is like a treat. Like when I was younger growing up, eating fast food was a treat. It wasn't something you did every day for every meal. So, I loved my sandwiches kind of sloppy. So I always ask for, and I don't really do too many sandwiches now. I usually get a wrap, but it will always be mayo on both sides and extra oil and vinegar. I just love a sloppy sandwich. Like, it was like if the mayo wasn't in the corners of my mouth, it wasn't good. And I know some people are so disgusted by that, especially people who don't eat mayonnaise. They're like, ew, that's too much mayo. Mm. That definitely bumped up the flavor. Cooking is all about seasoning. And of course, making sure that it's done. I mean, depending on what you're cooking. But the spices you add, even if it's just salt and pepper, if it's the right amount of salt and pepper, it's good. I love salt. And that's probably not good. I mean, we need salt, we need sodium, but I like extra. And anytime I've been to the doctor, they always say I have the blood pressure of a teenager. So, but my grandfather liked salt like that. So I'm wondering if it's something hereditary that makes your body crave salt. I need to look that up. I know if your electrolytes are low, you crave salt. Mm. Feet in my shirt. I keep saying that I'm gonna wear more dresses, but whenever I think about it, I was like, where am I going? And I know that some women do that. They get all dressed up just to go to the store. But when I think about it, it's like, okay, I'm getting all dressed up to go to the store with a dress on to come back in the house and take it off. I don't know. And I know some people judge you based on how you're dressed. I've never really been like that. I've always been more of a judge of character than based on someone's looks or what they're wearing. Because I know that millionaires wear Converse and drive, Toyotas. So you can't always judge a book by its cover. You can't. And then people who are stunting and fronting in certain cars, they have a high car note and they're in a bunch of debt. Or it's the drug dealer, not to knock anyone's profession. I just don't think it's fair to judge somebody based on what they're wearing. But I know not to pick on anybody. I know that Libras are really into that. Like I remember one time my friend, she said, "Oh, I didn't like his shoes. I can't date him." And I was like, "Really?" That's something you can change. If you start dating this person, all you have to do is take them shopping. Like, oh, let's go shopping. And pick out some shoes. Like, oh, I think those shoes would look really good on you. Or they would turn me on or make me say, honey, he would quit buy those shoes. Or sneakers or whatever. The boots. You tell a man you think he would look sexy in them or it would turn you on. Which may be the truth. You may like, those, whatever it is that you're encouraging him to buy. And it may actually, make you feel more attracted to him if you felt like you were less attracted to him, because he wore something that you didn't like. Men love compliments. And for the right person, you don't mind giving a compliment. I think that's why a lot of men probably have work wives. Because she probably gave him a compliment at some point. Some, not all. Sometimes it could be innocent. Depends on the people involved. Especially if both are married. They just talk to each other. Give each other advice. Even willing to meet each other's spouses. Some people turn it into a 3-way or a 4-way, whatever you're into. And some people they're just friends, They go on double dates. And it's no big deal. Whoever you're in a relationship with just has to be very secure within themselves. And love themselves without conditions. And without thinking that, somebody's going to take their spouse away and, all the kind of things that go through people's head. I'm about to lick my finger. That jealous energy, though, is something to deal with. It is not fun. And I have dealt with some jealous people in my lifetime. And I guess everybody has a certain amount of jealousy, but when it's to the extreme, when you can't even use the bathroom, come on, man. This is just too stressful. For me, it makes me not want to be there anymore. Some people think it's cute, like that means the person really loves you. To me, it's abusive. Emotionally abusive. Mentally abusive. That I have to deal with this all the time because of your insecurity. And then some people internalize it. Oh, well, that means you didn't love me or you didn't really care. No, that doesn't mean that at all. It means that I just don't want to put up with that. It's just a little bit too much for me. You may need to deal with that with somebody who thinks it's cute or makes them feel more secure within themselves. Uh-oh. He or she really cares about me because they got jealous. Mm. And sometimes that means the person is guilty of doing something. Or sometimes it just means they don't want to lose on their investment to somebody else because they know they're treating you horribly. But that's a whole nother show. Might have to get some sister girls to talk about that on Zoom or something. Well, this was pretty tasty. Mm. I normally just drink water. So I'm going to drink that down with some good H2O. And if me licking my fingers bothered you, and you feel like I should have used a fork and knife, I do apologize that you feel that way. I know one of my exes, he used to be so mad. And it would really turn into, well, I actually, see, this is how you lose yourself in a relationship because you start to conform to what somebody else wants you to do and not doing what you want to do for yourself. It doesn't bother me licking my fingers. Now, if I'm in a restaurant, I may not necessarily do that, but I may not necessarily order a sandwich either. But if I did order a sandwich, I would probably order a sandwich and use a knife to cut it in smaller pieces. So, like, say what I just had, that flatbread, I probably would have cut it into fours, but I probably wouldn't have gotten anything that messy either, right? I probably would have gotten something that I could, eat and not really make a big mess. Because I have a habit of feeding my shirt or my boobs, right? So, and yes, girls with bigger boobs, it happens to us too. You know, they may not be as big as some girls. I used to have double D's before I lost weight. But I do still feed my boobs. They are still there. They do still exist. They may not be as big as some women's, but they still exist. So they do get fed sometimes. Anyway, I don't know why I felt the need to say that, but I guess because sometimes people say, oh, you don't have none, but yes, I do. Yes, I do. Um, so, I probably would have cut that into fours, but like I said, I probably wouldn't have gotten anything that I, needed to cut, that would be really messy. But if I picked up something with my fingers or ate with my hands, he would be so upset and use a knife. So basically, and it's etiquette, It's Emily Post, etiquette. I get it. Again, if we're in a restaurant, yes. But if we're just at home, why do I have to use my fork and knife? Like, it's really not that serious. And it's for you to make a big deal about. And it's really controlling. But he would insist that I use my knife to put my food on my fork or my spoon. And again, if we're out in a restaurant, that is the proper way to eat. But if I'm at home, why are you making a big deal about it? And then it depends on the culture too, because in African culture, Indian culture, you know, certain cultures, certain food you are supposed to eat with your hands. Now they may give you bread, like Ethiopians, you get injera bread. Um, Indians, I think it's naan bread. Don't quote me on that one though. But there are certain dishes that they eat with their fingers, even communal dishes that they all share. And you take your portion, you know, with your hands, and then you just clean your hands after, and it's really no big deal. But when somebody makes a big deal about who you are at your core, it changes who you are. And then you realize after being in that relationship for years that you've actually lost yourself to someone else's control. Because again, that's controlling. Like, you know, I was just eating my sandwich and, you know, a pickle fell out. Okay, I'm going to eat it with my hand. Why do I have to get up and get a fork just for a piece of pickle? And I don't mind licking my fingers. Sometimes that makes it taste good. And then I put my little cayenne on there. So, you know, got a little spice going. So, you know, I feel in the roof of my mouth and a little bit at the front of my, or the back of my mouth. And it's good. I had jalapenos on my flatbread. And, you know, everything is good in America as far as I'm concerned. So it's no big deal. But, you know, depending on what I'm having, if I'm having Ethiopian food, I do eat with my hands. There's a really good restaurant not too far from me. And it depends on what mood I'm in, really. Because sometimes, like with the, you know, like with the oil and vinegar, okay, I got a little bit of oil and vinegar under my hands. Like I said, I can just wash my hands. But with some things, I don't like to eat with my fingers because it gets all up in your nails. It's hard to get out. And then certain things can stain your fingers. Like if a certain place cooks with turmeric or curry, even with the Ethiopian food, I think they use African curry. And like I said, sometimes it gets stained. Like you know, like if I don't have any polish or anything on my nails, it like turns it a color, and then it's like a whole week before you get that color off your hands. And I know that some people don't mind, but I don't always want to go through that. So again, it depends on what mood I'm in, whether or not I decide to eat with my hands or not, and it depends on what I'm eating. Excuse me, but do you. Don't let anybody, you know, change you and make you into another person. I think, you know, like I said, we lose ourselves in relationships because we just want to be in a relationship. And it's like, oh, well, if I do this or don't do that, this person's going to leave. Or that shouldn't be a concern at all. Just be who you are. And so if somebody says, oh, you should eat with a fork and knife, just say, I don't want to. And I'm going to enjoy my food. And if they get an attitude, let them get an attitude. But if it becomes a problem and every time you eat, this person wants to argue about you eating. Like I remember every time I would get a weave, I just started wearing weaves when I got with him, right? I would wear braids when I was younger, but I wasn't really a weave wearer. So in my 20s, I started wearing weaves. And he hated it. Why do you have that stuff in your hair? And I don't care if I had that weave in my hair for a month. Every day he would say, why do you have that in your hair? You need to take it out. I'm not getting ready to take this out after I pay for it. You're going to have to get over it. But after a while, that's a pain in the behind. To hear someone complain every freaking day because they want you to take it out. And I would say, are you going to reimburse me my money for having gotten my hair done? And no. So, no, I'm not taking it out. You're just going to have to deal with it. And then he would get mad, I guess, because he felt like I wasn't taking his feelings into consideration. But you're being rude. You're not taking my feelings into consideration. You just want what you want the way that you want it. Oh, I just like when you wear your hair down, meaning like in a rap or in doobie. Okay, I hear you, but this is my hair. And I don't tell you how to get your hair done when you go to get a haircut. But then that was another thing. Every time he went to get a haircut, he would want me to give him a compliment. And I get it. Again, men like compliments and they want you to say, oh, you look handsome. But it will always be the same haircut for the most part. Why do I have to tell you every time you go get a haircut that you look good? That's your self esteem issue. And it really doesn't have anything to do with me. Now, I don't mind. And really, you shouldn't force anyone to say that to you. Like, and I would say that at that point, it didn't come naturally to me because I wasn't used to that. But you can't force somebody to do something that they don't want to do. Now, if you mention it and say, oh, I would like for you to say that, I look good or have, you like my haircut, fine. And then, allow that person some time to make the proper adjustments. But if every time, you need that acknowledgement or validation, it becomes an argument, that's a problem. That is toxic. That is not a healthy way to have a relationship. It's just not. And like I said, if it's somebody, you know, um, who is doing right by you, because for me, that again, character is important. So if you're good to me, I'm gonna be good to you. But if you're a jerk to me, I don't want to give you compliments. Why? You're being verbally abusive by telling me that I'm ugly because you don't like the way that I have my hair styled. Or, so for me, one of the reasons I like to keep my weight down is because when I gain weight in my upper body first. And for me, I feel like I look like a linebacker. I'm just gonna put that out there. And also, I gain weight in my stomach first. So when I gain weight in my stomach, people say, "Oh, how many months are you?" And I'm not pregnant, and that's no fun, right? So the other thing is, he would poke me in my stomach and say, "Oh, you're getting fat." And my grandmother would say, "Oh, I never had a stomach that big when I was your age." And it makes you feel some kind of way. And so to the point where even now, I have what's called body dysmorphic disorder. People tell me all the time, "Oh, you're so little, oh, you're so little," but I don't see it. I still see myself sometimes. Sometimes I see it and sometimes I don't. But I promise you, it's not until I get ready to put something on and I see how much bigger it is on me that I'm like, wow, like I really have lost a lot of weight. But when I look in the mirror, I still see the bigger size. I don't necessarily see the smaller size. Now I love myself either way, like as I said in my other video, I'm gorgeous. So, it doesn't matter to me either way. But when you go through so many years of someone telling you that you're way bigger than you actually are, it kind of gives you a complex and makes you think that you're bigger. And then I look at some big girls who's, mother may have been a plus size woman and then she's a plus size woman, and their mothers or, family members never spoke to them that way. In fact, they were proud of, the weight that they carried. And not that and I'm not, saying that there's anything wrong with being plus size. Don't get me wrong. I'm specifically referring to body dysmorphic disorder. When you look in the mirror and you feel like you're bigger than you are because you've gotten a complex. And then my ex would always say, "Oh, well, so nobody should be able to lower your self-esteem anyway." And I would get an attitude when he would say that, but he's right. Nobody should be able to lower your self-esteem. You should be so confident within yourself, you shouldn't care what anybody says about you or your body. So that is absolutely true. Um, but sometimes you have to go through the motions in order to have that understanding. Um, and I know at a certain point I thought I was ugly. Especially, so, fifth grade. Was it fifth grade or sixth grade? May have been sixth grade. May have been fifth grade. Um, One of my relatives, I won't even say who this time, So, in terms of chemical services, I think I had a relaxer and she put a Jerry curl on top of my relaxer, or vice versa. I don't remember which one it was. And I specifically said, "You're not supposed to do that." And I was told, "Shut up, I know what I'm doing. I do this to my hair all the time. Ain't nothing gonna happen." And I was like, "Yeah, but my mother," so my mother went to cosmetology school, and I was like, "Yeah, but my mother said you're not supposed to do that." Because I know what my mother told me. And lo and behold, when the chemical service was rinsed out my hair went down the sink with it. So my mother came and she had to cut my hair into a little afro when afros were not in style. Afros were not in style in the 80s. It was pressing curls, relaxers, and Jerry curls. Okay. So I had to take my school pictures with a little afro. And I had a little part on the side. And, now I think it was cute. But back then, it wasn't cute. When you have all the other, girls, again, with a pressing curl. And I have a little afro. So I started to think I was ugly at that point. Because people started saying that I was ugly. Because again, this was not, it wasn't in style. Nobody was wearing, especially into like, even in the fourth grade, my mom, so maybe it was sixth grade, because in the fourth grade, I know I still had to wear a part down the middle and a part going across and 4 pigtails. And I used to be like, I don't want to wear my hair like this, because all the other girls were having pressing curls and they had curls in their hair. But I had to wear my 4 plaits. And when I would get to school in the playground, sometimes I would take my hair loose. Sometimes I would take my hair loose because I wanted to look like the other kids. But anyway, around 5th, 6th grade, I started to think that I was ugly. And I probably carried that mentality into my 20s. I probably carried that mentality into my 20s. And it's to the point where when somebody would tell me that I was pretty, I know I didn't take the compliment well. I don't remember what I would say, but I'm pretty sure I didn't take the compliment well. Even if I said thank you, I'm pretty sure I didn't believe them. So it wasn't until I got a little bit older that I started to consider myself to be pretty. But other people didn't see me the same way people still don't see me the way that I see myself. And I read an article and I was like, oh, is that what people think? I just read this article the other day. Maybe it was today. It might have been yesterday. I don't remember all the details of the article or what the title was or anything. It may have been one of the Psychology Medical Journal articles, but it was basically, oh, I do know what it was. I was reading up on feeling rejected. Was it? No, that wasn't it. I was reading about that yesterday, abandonment issues and rejection issues and how it shows up in a person's life. But basically, this particular article was saying, other people see me as this confident, I guess self-assured or maybe even conceited person, where I don't see myself that way at all. And even to the point where, if you don't know me and you don't understand my personality, I'm actually very shy, especially around men. And sometimes guys are like, oh, why don't you do it? Because that's not how I operate. I'm not just out there like that and don't just put myself out there like that, like some other women do. And some people see that as a lack of confidence. I don't think that it's a lack of confidence. It's just something that I don't do. My personality comes out when I feel comfortable with a person. When I go somewhere for the first time or am around people that I don't really know, I'm quiet. And that's when my shyness shows up. And people say, "Oh, what's wrong with you? Why you not, like the life of the party?" Because I don't know these people. And that's really an Aquarius thing. We sit back and we analyze. We look around, look around. I need to see what's going on. Who want what? I need to see what are my surroundings, where are the exit doors. And other things that most people probably aren't paying attention to and don't think that I'm paying attention to. But I'm paying attention. I need to look around and observe my surroundings. I need to see who these people are, how they operate. And that's just my personality. So if I go somewhere with somebody for the first time, I may not be the life of the party like I am once you get to know me. Depending on the topic, what everybody's talking about, I may not have anything to say. But then when I say something, I have a lot to say. But if I'm not asked what I have to say, I probably won't say anything. I just sit back and listen and take in the information and observe what's going on in the room. You know what I mean? And there are other signs who are like that too. And it's not really a sign thing, because if you grew up with somebody whose personality is like that, you may tend to take on those traits of your parent who was like that. So, everybody's different. I know I started my YouTube channel like 10 years ago, and then I went years without doing a YouTube channel because of my shyness. So it's like now and although I always wanted to be an actress, and I studied theater in college and media arts, and, have done stuff in front of and behind the camera. It's just that I did some of those things with people that I was comfortable with so I could relax and let loose. But even one of my friends, oh my goodness, we had a show called Grassroots. So whenever I would host the show, he would be like, "Nick, you're not, where are you? Like, you're not being yourself." I'm fucking shy. So, and he didn't really know that. Like, people don't get it. They don't understand. And like, I wouldn't freeze when I get in front of the camera, but I would kind of like take a step back, I guess. And I wouldn't be my full on, hey, Nickie Brown self. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, "Nick, come on, Nick, 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 Nick." And I used to be like, "All right, I'm doing it. Just give me a minute." And I would kind of have to warm up and relax. And then it would depend on who I was talking to, because some people, of course, I could warm up to and relax a little bit more and be more comfortable around. But then some people have very dominant personalities. And again, because I'm an observer, sometimes I would take a step back and observe their personality. Okay, how can I fit into this equation? Not that I was intimidated by them or anything like that. Again, I was just trying to figure out, how can we make this work so that I can, do my thing and fit into this equation. And sometimes it would be a little weird or awkward. So, all right, y'all. I think my mukbang is over. I thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Love you later.